welcome to the Hard Rocket Sports Studios and another edition of the weekly video recap. On March 31st, that's my cue to start the show. Welcome to another live edition of the Hard Rocket Sports Show, live from higher top Hard Rocket Sports Studios in beautiful scenic Monroe, New Jersey. We are your 2-hour weekly get-together. We bring you all the biggest news from around the worlds of hard rock, heavy metal, of course, the wide world of sports. And guys, welcome back. We are in July the 11th in the year of our good Lord, 2024. And we've been off for a week. That's right. Celebrated July 4th in Florida. And glad to be back here with you guys. It's been a long couple of weeks, long and hot. Boy, oh boy. I have to tell you how exhausted I am tonight. Hopefully, we will get a little juice working here. We're waiting for Jeff to pop up, and we'll talk about a lot of stuff going on. There's listen, you got some baseball. Mets are playing much better. Still a 500 team. You know, everybody talks about the Mets. Listen, granted, they've worked their way back up. They're, I think, a game over 500. That's terrific. This is still a 500 team. Get to 10 games. Get to 15 games, and then I start to pay attention. Now, on the other reverse, and the Mets will have their issues. The Mets had their issues, right? Bullpen is still bad. Rotation's been good. They've been hitting the ball. I give them credit. They still don't play great baseball. But then again, nobody does. I don't know how many baseball teams actually do that. So I think the Mets are in a good spot. They're creeping up on wild cards. They're hanging around, and they may make it interesting. The problem for the Mets is, do they go all in at the trade deadline and sell off some stuff to make a run for the playoffs, or do you hold on? So to me, if you're the Mets, you cannot give away any of your big stuff. You can't. You can't give away your better prospects. You can't get rid of your players. And go all in, because I don't think you're good enough. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't pick up a player or two and make a run. That's the question for the Mets. On the other end of the town, well, the Yankees have bigger problems. It's the typical swoon. Now, listen, when the Yankees were 29 games over, best record in baseball, you didn't hear a peep from me, because I always wait for this Yankee team for the shoe to drop. And it was disgusting. What I saw last week from the New York Yankees, with Grissom kicking the ball out in center field and let a guy go from turn a single into a double. You realize the Mets lineup is better than the Yankees. Yeah, Frankie, hi, pal. How are you? Frankie, I'm not disagreeing. The way the Yankees are playing right now, I wouldn't argue that. I would tell you right now, the Mets are probably a better team than the Yankees. That doesn't mean at the end of the year they're going to win more games or be a better team. But right now, I would take the Mets lineup today over what the Yankees are doing. LeMahieu's done. Torres is terrible. Volpe's got to find his swing again. Soto's battling something. He hasn't hit in a month. I mean, if it isn't for Judge, Grisham's batting 160, I think. This is not a stellar team. I like Ben Rice. I like the way Ben Rice is playing. To me, at some point, I'm cutting everybody. I swear to God. Trade him, cut him, and let's bring the kids up. I mean, hopefully Dominguez comes back and sparks a little something. I don't even want to see Stanton anymore. But the problem I have with the Yankees is nothing more simple than this. 2 games, Red Sox series. Grisham dogs a ball in center and allows a guy to go from second to on a single to turn into a double, and nothing happens. I got to listen to Boone tell me, well, I spoke to him. What does that mean? I would have been, if I was the manager at that moment, I would have to give serious thought to going to get him at that moment, pull him out of the game. But I'm damn sure when he got in that dugout, if I didn't do that, I would have pulled him out of that game and I would have replaced him. Or I would have showed him up. That's right. You know what? You let him go up to the box And just before he's ready to take a pitch, you call timeout and you pull him out of the game. You teach these guys a lesson. And that's the problem with baseball today and sports in general, is that the inmates run the asylum. Oh, we can't yell at the guys. Oh, we can't do. You know what? I remember, I'll go back to the Joe Torre teams of 96 when he's flipping tables. He's throwing things in the clubhouse. Sometimes you got to wake these guys up, and sometimes you got to make a guy feel the wrath. You got to show them that if you don't put out, there's a problem, and you're going to pay the price. And here's the other problem with the Yankees. The next day, first and third, right? Volpe's on third. LeMahieu's on first. Ground ball to the first baseman. He steps on the bag. Now, instead of LeMahieu stopping and getting into a rundown and allowing Volpe to score, he runs right into the second baseman and gets thrown out before Volpe can score. But here's the bigger problem. Volpe, instead of sprinting down the line, is basically jogging, watching LeMahieu. So basically telling me that either, one, they're both dumb and don't know the rules, or LeMahieu doesn't know the rules and Volpe just didn't hustle. I don't know which one it is, but I'm going with the first. I think they both didn't know the rules and didn't know that they should, one, sprint, and two, should get held up in the thing. And that's my problem with the Yankee team for years now. And the biggest culprit, and he got benched for 2 or 3 games, is Gleyber Torres. And he just continues. He doesn't run. He doesn't hustle. Oh, he's got a pulled hamstring. Oh, he's got a pulled groin. Then he shouldn't be playing. Then don't play the game. Big enough Stanton can't run 90 feet without pulling a hamstring. It's enough with this team. But remember, folks, when they were 29 games up, I wasn't sitting here going, "Oh, yeah, you're the best team." No, I was waiting for the shoe to drop. I know this lineup has fault in it. Right now, if I'm Brian Cashman, I am firing Aaron Boone. He cannot run this team. They have to get away from this analytic bullshit, and they have to cut ties. They have to pay the price. They're gonna have to pay the price for 2 or 3 years. You got to cut Stanton today. You got to get rid of LeMahieu today. You got to cut Rizzo today, and you got to bring the kids up or make some trades for some young, athletic hitters. And until they do this, the Yankees are going to have this season all the time. They'll rebound. Watch. I guarantee you, some point this month, they'll rattle off a bunch of games. They'll get to 95, 98 wins. I'd be shocked if they didn't. And they'll get to the playoffs, and you'll see this baseball you're seeing right now. Maybe Judge will hit. Soto, and I'll tell you right now, if I'm the Yankees, I'm going to give serious consideration. If you get to the trade deadline and you're playing this brand of baseball, I would give serious consideration to trade Juan Soto. Absolutely. You trade him to a contender. You get a bunch of players back for him. Even if you kept him for the entire year, you are not signing him unless you're going to overpay him. I think he's a great player, even with what's going on right now. But would I give him $700 million? No, but somebody will. And it's probably Uncle Steve. Uncle Steve needs a player. He needs that dynamic player. And he's the only one out there. Unless you're going to try to peel somebody off a team. So to me, when this kicks in, your Mets have a big decision, but the Yankees have bigger ones. And if you're going to tell me that we're stuck with LeMahieu next year, we're stuck with Stanton next year, if you're telling me that I'm bringing Rizzo back for another season, and I like Anthony Rizzo, but his glove fell apart, he can't hit. He's constantly hurt. It's time to get rid of. You need a first baseman. They need a third baseman. It's possible they need a right fielder. Right? They probably need some help behind the plate. Trevino can't throw anybody out. I like Wells. I think he's really turned into a decent defensive catcher, but he's batting 208. And that he was known for his stick. So here's a kid down there who still can't hit. So folks, I love the game of baseball. I'm watching some games, but what I'm watching is pathetic baseball from the Yankees, and I haven't caught Met fever yet. Again, Frankie, you got to get 10 games over. They're hovering one game under at 500, one game over. So At some point, if you're the Mets, you got to go on another run. You got to get 10 games over, and then I'm going to start paying attention because I think that's coming. I think at some point, okay, they're going to lose 5 of 7. You're going to lose 6 of 10, and you're going to flounder. And the problem for that is Stearns is on the precipice of having to make a decision on whether he wants to make a run at the playoffs this year or stick to the original plan, unload some of this to guys that, I'm sorry, I still ain't signing Alonso. Okay, I'm still trying to get rid of McNeil. Okay, build around Alvarez, build around Lindor. Even though I think Lindor's well overpaid, but he's still a consistent player. He's overpaid, but he's still a good ball player. Build around Nimmo. I think Nimmo's not the greatest player in the world, but he's a tough, hard-nosed player who I can live with on a really good team. But you got to get rid of Alonso. You got to do it because I'm telling you, the end is near. Mark my words. Year or two from now, you're going to give him money. You don't win a World Series with him, you're going to have a Stanton on your hands. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, I have no idea to look into the future. But for baseball right now, if you're a Yankee fan, it's depressing. Because, again, I can deal with the losing, but it's the same losing. And they don't hit. And they don't field. And they don't play good fundamental baseball. And until they do, they're pathetic. And Boone's got to go. I'm not one for calling for guys to be fired and all that. Boone has to go. Bottom line. So we'll talk more baseball. I got plenty of football. We got some music topics for tonight. I see Jeff just popped up. So we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to get to. I want to get to wishing my partner in crime a big happy birthday. And, of course, I think, is he there yet? We're still waiting for the mumbler in chief, the meat puppet himself. He's supposed to be on at 5:30. They pushed it to 6:30, and now it's 7:15. They're waiting for the medication to take effect. So right now they pumped him up with the B12 shot or whatever they give him, and now he's gonna be out there. And, if you saw, he introduced the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, as Putin. Now he did catch himself pretty quick, but he introduced him. He said, "The president of Ukraine, Vladimir Putin." It's like, whoa, President Putin. Now, if you're gonna make a mistake, that's not a good one to the guy who's in a war with Putin. So we'll see what the meat puppet does. But right now, what we're watching, and I'm waiting for Jeff to get back, is the Democratic Party to completely fall apart. Obama's sending his boy George Clooney to take out Joe. They can't get Joe to quit. They can't make him quit yet. Yet they want him out. They want to get Kamala in there. Now they're praising Kamala, laughing Kamala, as my man Trump says. They have the worst ticket in the history of worse than Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter and Walter Mondale wasn't this bad as these two morons. And the worst part, real quick, before I see Jeff just sitting down again, you know what the worst part of this is? Everybody knows he's in decline, yet they still want you to vote for him because it doesn't matter. He's going to get in, and then they're going to go after him and make him quit, and he's going to resign, and they're going to put Kamala Harris in there. So this is what it's all about. They know that she can't beat Trump. She can't beat nobody. They got to get him to the finish line and then get him out. But yet there are people running around there going, I know he's slipping. I know he's not all there, but I'm going to vote for him anyway. What the hell are you? This is the biggest cover-up in the history of our country. You have a president who hasn't been president in a long time, and people are running him out there and pretending. And we're okay with it. Everybody's okay with this. This is who's running this country. You have no idea. I have no idea. I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote against them. Joe Biden hasn't run this country in 2 years or better. Yet people still want to vote for him. I don't care how much you hate Trump. Watch Trump now. The guy has done a great job this cycle. But you know what? And I get how old he is and all that. But there's no, you can't compare the two. But the fact that anybody can sit there and say, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden after that debate, after what he's done for the last 2 years, I got to tell you, you got a pair of balls. But listen, that's my quick spot. Let's get Jeff on. Let's celebrate a little birthday. Let's talk a little football. I got some music topics, and let's get to it. So, again, here comes my buddy of 40 years, and the sexiest man inside the screen, Mr. Jeff Towinski. What up, Hefe?
What's going on, man?
Just settled into the chair, getting trying to get a second win going here. So, Jeff, how's your? Well, let's start the show as we always do. Jeff, how was your week?
It was excellent because I wasn't at work.
I see that. When does the countdown clock go up in the corner?
9.
Yeah, we're waiting for the countdown clock.
The app that used to do that, I don't have anymore.
Uh-huh.
But I can tell you this much: unless anywhere time from 2 years, I'm under 2 years. Let's put it that way.
That's we're waiting for the count. You're gonna see Jeff walking around with a big clock over his head, counting down minutes to the days.
Probably the clock till something falls on my head.
So Jeff, how's the vacation been? I'm assuming you've a lot of playing base, a lot of hanging out.
Oh yeah, it's definitely, anything's better than being at work. I was just trying to set up my. I got PS5 for my birthday.
Oh, nice! Hey, I have. Nice, very nice. I got an older version of the PS. I haven't played in. It's got to be well over a year since I moved here. I have not. I have it hooked up. I just haven't played at all. I haven't had 10 minutes of time to do it.
PS5?
Well, I don't have PS5. There's a little birthday celebration going out from Michael.
Thank you, Mike.
No, I don't know which one I have. I don't know if it's definitely not 5. No, it's the black version.
That's probably PS4 then.
Yeah. So again, I got a bunch of games. The last thing I did, I took Daniel Jones and the Giants to the Super Bowl. Daniel Jones MVP, by the way.
Well, that's the only way they're going.
I'm just saying, just a prelude to what's coming up pretty soon. So as we get closer and closer to the NFL, we're about 2 weeks away. Let's see, 26th. So we're 2 weeks away from our official NFL training camp show. And of course, that will be our official 10-year anniversary for the Hard Rock Sports Show. We'll be here doing the show together and hanging out, and we're doing a lot of football that night. Hopefully, we'll be joined by some guests. I'm hoping to drag a couple of buddies in and talk some football and all that. But we're still 2 weeks away from that. It's the quiet time, Jeff, for the NFL. You don't hear much. You don't hear too much. You don't see too much.
Hopefully, we'll get a little fantasy football league one in beforehand.
Yeah.
This is a big year, huge year.
This is a big year. Jeff has got his big boy pants on. He's going to go out on his own. And his one objective is to make sure he steamrolls my team, which we all know will never happen. I will absolutely, if I finish 9th in a 10-team league, I will tell you who will be number 10 at that point.
Listen, you can think whatever you want, man. It's going to happen.
Officially some trash talking going on. We've been in the league for 2 years together, and nobody talked trash.
No, not a single fucking person.
Exactly.
They're actually boring.
Yes. So, other than collecting their money at the end of the year and putting their teams in every week, there was no chatter. So, hopefully,
none whatsoever.
Yeah, hopefully, with Jeff leading the pack and him and I going at it in the chat rooms, it'll change that out there. But we'll see. We're a couple weeks away from putting out some letters. Probably August 1st, I'll put the letter out and get everybody ready for another season, our third year of the South Beach Panther Fantasy League. We've had a couple good years, two different winners. So looking forward to another year doing that. We'll see who gets involved, and we'll keep you guys apprised of Jeff's standings each week. I promise you I will have them and have them up on the screen.
I don't care if nobody else joins this league and it's just me and you. It's happening.
Listen, I promise you there will be a league, and I promise you and I will be in it against each other, and we will have some fun. And of course, we'll have two different championships. One will be the overall championship, and then it will be the Jeff against Tom championship.
And I'm going to tell you right now,
which will be a bigger championship in my book.
Yeah, I hear you, and I'm going to tell you right now, if fucking Frank thinks he's getting away with anything, fuck him. He's in my sights too.
Yeah. I think the only guy worse, and it's because he's such a nice guy that John Marhefka is a ruthless guy. Every time Jeff and I were going to pick up a player, John snuck in and took him. Am I right?
Yeah, God.
I
fucking hated John for that.
Yeah. Every week. Fuck, I wanted that guy. Fucking John got what the fuck? I'm paying. What are you gonna do? he was, he snuck in and it took the player. So
yeah, but I don't understand. He was averaging God knows how much, almost 200 points a game it seemed.
Yeah,
his cuts, not his cuts, his waiver wire was higher. How the fuck was this?
I don't know how he did it, but
are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't know how he did it, but so we're a couple weeks away from that start, and then we're a month and change from the NFL season, and of course our fantasy draft, which to me is the most fun. There he goes. There he goes. There he is.
I fucking hope we're gonna have to set up a special chat for your ass too. This is gonna get brutal over the fucking season.
Frankie, but we got a lot of football to get to tonight. We got some music topics. I want to talk about Kiss and one of their songs reaching 1 billion streams on Spotify. I was a little surprised by which song it was. I definitely want to talk a little bit about the Giants and their hard knocks.
Wait. I got to go back. I got to ask the question. You don't have to reveal it now. Kiss song got 1 billion hits for streaming.
Yep.
And it's not going to be a song that we would think it is.
That's an interesting question because it's not the first one that when I read the article and I said what song I thought it would be, it wasn't the song, but it made sense after I knew what song it was.
All right, I don't know when you plan on doing this, so that's up to you. But I got to ask a couple questions because I just can't wait. Is this an old song?
Well, it has to be old. They haven't put anything new out in a long time, but I would say
no. What I mean by old, is it like from the 70s or is it a later song?
It's 70s.
Okay, all right. So it's towards the beginning of their career.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Definitely the earlier in their career than later.
Okay, all right, okay. I was going to wait for you to say something like it was going to be.
It's a good guess, Frankie. It's a good guess.
I think it's Rock and Roll All Night.
Well, in 2 minutes, I will reveal it, and we can chat about it. Frank, just so you guys know, I am kind of counting on you guys on the 26th. Want to celebrate the anniversary of the show, but it's a training camp show. It's the first official football show of the year, and I'd like you guys to be, whether it's 1 minute, 1 hour, or all two, I'd like you guys to be part of the panel for the night. If you guys are interested, let me know. I'll set you up with the a link, but we're gonna really break it down. We'll go through the divisions. So I'd love to have you guys involved. So Jeff, if I gave you 3 guesses, okay, what song from Kiss got 1 billion views on Spotify, I'll give you 3 guesses. Give me your 3 guesses.
Well, Rock and Roll All Night.
Okay.
Black Diamond.
Okay.
And God of Thunder.
All good. Frankie, right on the money. I thought Beth. It was actually I Was Made for Loving You.
See, now that's not a song from the 70s.
Yes, it is. That was a 79 release. I went to the concert in 79 for that album.
I that's what I meant by old song, by the way. Just to clear this up.
I said it was in the 70s.
That to me would have been newer Kiss. I would have figured it would have been something like that. It was kind of a crossover hit. Yes,
it was their attempt at disco, at doing something during the disco period.
Yeah, my wife says Biden press conference is on. He may step down. I don't know what's going on with that.
Well, again, so what's going on with that right now is it's a NATO press conference. He's supposed to do a press conference, not a speech, and he's trying to save himself because right now he's got the dogs barking. Clooney's after him, which means Obama's trying to get him out there. All trying to get him to step down because they can't really make him go away without really embarrassing him and trying to invoke the 25th Amendment. So they're begging him to go away, but he's refusing to go away.
And by the way, Frank Jeffrey, I agree with you. That's what I meant by newer Kiss.
Yeah, I disagree. To me, newer Kiss would be, late 80s into the 90s. I mean, 79, you only talk about 4 or 5 years into their career. That's not new Kiss.
Well, how about this? To me, that's newer Kiss, and I'll tell you why. Because it wasn't on the first live album. Basically, anything on the first live album was older Kiss.
Okay.
They had a few albums out and everything else. The second live album, kind of touch base on both sides. But I Was Made for Loving You. That was a different era, different kind of Kiss. A lot of people were disappointed with that song. And I just don't feel as though that's newer Kiss. Other than diehard Kiss fans like Frank Catalano and anybody else, that may be a diehard Kiss fan, I couldn't tell you anything they released in the 90s. So, like, to me, that's something completely fucking different.
Well, here's where I would agree with you.
If you listen to that.
If you wanted to make that argument, I think the best argument for that to be a newer Kiss song is that they changed the costumes. They had a whole different set of costumes. That's where they introduced all of that. So if you want to make the argument that that's newer Kiss, then that would be that when they made the transition and changed their style on stage.
But again, the first album with Eric Carr?
No, Eric Carr. No, that was still Peter Criss. The first album with Eric Carr, if I'm not mistaken, was still Creatures of the Night.
Okay.
So that was an 81 album. So that's, I think it was Dynasty, if I'm not mistaken, then The Elder, then Creatures, and then, then I think Lick It Up. And then that really where, Frankie, you can change if I missed something in there, but I believe it was Dynasty, The Elder.
Came out, Lick It Up. Right?
Yeah.
Album without makeup, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so I think after I think Dynasty, The Elder, then it was Creatures, Eric Carr's there, but Ace is still hanging around, and then they go to Lick It Up, and then Vinnie Vincent's there, and then they go no makeup and the whole bit. So to be fair to you, if I wanted to say it true, you could use Dynasty as a newer Kiss because they changed everything. But to me, late 80s.
Anything later than 85 is new Kiss.
Yeah.
Me, I'm sorry, Frank Jeffrey. That to me is maybe not new Kiss, but it's definitely not old Kiss. Has a completely different vibe. It was a different sound, a different feel.
Agreed. No, I would agree with you. That's where they changed. The recipe for what Kiss was changed with Dynasty. Because after that, every album was kind of different. You had Dynasty was a disco album. Creatures was their shot at a metal album. The Elder was their shot at what's the name? A concept album. So
wait, Vinnie Vincent played on Creatures in the Night? Is that what you're saying?
No. Wait. To be fair, no. I don't think Vinnie Vincent played on that. That was still.
Catalano is saying that.
I think. Look it up. I think he was credited to Ace, but if I'm not mistaken, I think one of the Kulicks or St. John, somebody else actually played it. But I think on the album, it's still credited to Ace because it's Ace's picture on the album.
Okay, I'm not familiar with all of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up just for the sake of shits and giggles. But Frankie, I think Creatures of the Night. I'll put it up on the screen when I get it.
What song, Mike? The one that we're talking about now. What the fuck is it? I don't even fucking remember. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean. Ace is on the album cover. So, I mean, again, I think the history was he was already kind of out of the band, but he was still part of the team. But I don't think his face is on it, but I don't think he played. Who actually played? I'm a little, but I think it's one of the Kulicks, either Bob or Bruce, or what's his name? Mark St. John. Somebody else played on that album. Ace didn't play it.
One of those guys just recently died,
I think it's Bob Kulick died. Yeah, one of the older.
Yeah, he was like an old studio musician.
Yeah. He very famous in that world. Bruce was obviously a member of Kiss for a little while.
Yes.
But no, actually, Bruce is still it's Tommy Thay is still hanging around. Was hanging around at the end. But yeah, Bruce Kulick was there for a while. So was Mark St. John, and then Tommy Thay is really kind of having it the whole way. But yeah. Creatures is one of my favorite Kiss albums because it's so heavy. Mark played on. Okay, Frank, you're right. But Creatures, Frankie, look when you get a chance, look it up who actually played guitar on that album because I don't believe Ace did. I believe Ace was credited with it, but it really wasn't him. So I was a little surprised because I thought it was Beth. To be honest with you, it's one of the most overplayed songs ever. It's constantly out there. When people play Kiss on the radio, it's usually that song, or like you said, Jeff, Rock and Roll All Night, which would have been my second choice. I Was Made for Loving You would never made it.
With Beth, that was Peter Criss sang. It was a ballad. It was one of their first ballads.
Yep.
And if I remember right, it was one of their first songs that had a video to it.
Very possible. Yeah. Yeah, you might be right about that.
And I remember that song. Yeah, it definitely came out. But I mean, I would have thought Beth also, but I would have had a hard time swallowing that. Only because I think that the real Kiss diehards would have picked another song, which evidently they did.
Yeah.
But I can't see Beth getting a billion hits. A billion hits.
Yeah.
Think of that. And that alone is out of insane. A billion hits.
That's what made it stand out to me. If it said
I would say the same thing, Frank. I would have thought that too. I wouldn't want it to be true, but they definitely can make an argument for that song without a doubt.
Oh, 100%. And the funny part was of I Was Made for Loving You. I know it was the big radio hit, but the best song on that album is Charisma. That's the best song on that album. So
I remember that song. The first time I ever heard that song, I was forced by Gestapo-like force. I don't want to give names to learn that song in a backyard with about 130 degrees in a little shed where God knows what happened. And we're just like, learn the song. I'm like,
But we actually played that song good. It
had two parts. It had two parts. We had
no choice. I didn't say it was. I didn't say it was. The hardest song in the world.
It wasn't until we went progressive with some Rush.
Yes.
Temples of Syrinx and shit.
Oh yeah. It's funny.
Frank, you want to laugh? I'll tell you, I want to make you laugh. One day I'm minding my own business. I'm in my house sleeping. Somebody's knocking on the door. I go down, I open up the door, and it's Tommy and Joey Gansas. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm sleeping. And they're like, well, come on, let's go. I'm like, where are we going? They're like, you're in a band now. Come on, we got to go look for rugs. And we went to every field in Rosebank looking for rugs that were in these fields for God knows how long. Like COVID. This is why I didn't die of COVID or any other disease so far. I remember bugs crawling all over these fucking things. Let's get an A&P cart. And so we could bring them back to Joey's house. And then we put up like 4 layers of carpeting in this house, this little shack that was maybe what? 8 by 12, 8 by 14, maybe.
Something like that. Yeah. It was definitely barely 8 feet wide.
10,000 fucking degrees. And we were in there fucking playing. Oof. Not every day, like band practice, like again.
9 o'clock in the morning, every day, playing 2 songs. But in a fairly quick amount of time, we actually did have quite a decent set list. I can think back to the songs we were playing. We might not have played them great, but we were playing a lot of songs after a while. But yeah, to think about, we were walking through the fields behind St. Mary's parking lot, and however we found rugs,
the trestle.
Yes.
On Virginia Avenue.
And we carried these decrepit, water-soaked, dried out, like just disgusting rugs. And we put them up in Joey's thing. And
homeless people wouldn't fuck on these things. That's how bad they are.
And we put these things up with this, I don't even know that rubber mat. Remember that rubber, that kind of rubbery stuff that we had? And we put it all up and we nailed it up on these walls and we sat in there. And Jeff ain't kidding. When he tells you it's 130 degrees, it was hot. I mean, you're sitting there and the sweat would come down, and we would sit in there for hours and play and play and play.
Hose them down? Hell no. We didn't
no. As is. And Jeff's right. We couldn't catch a disease if you wanted us to because we were immune to everything after that. We were bit by and inhaled every bug, virus, known to man, and maybe some that aren't known to man.
Dude, I'll make out with any chick that has Ebola any day of the week and walk away unscathed. I don't care.
We spent, I would think at least a week doing this, scouring the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just to try to,
we need more. We need more. It was like 6 inches thick with carpeting. There was no air getting in except for Joey's sister pounding on the door and his grandmother. Too loud.
And also doubled as our official wrestling ring, by the way. Also, don't forget, it was the steel cage.
I don't know if I can't say that's the only thing that happened in there. I don't know.
No,
All I know is I can only speak for myself and what I saw. Okay, 1, gills fly. 2, something bad happened in that place, man.
No, I would tell you a lot of bad stuff happened in that place. I would tell you before they took that shed down, and I'm pretty sure it is gone now. Somebody had to have done an exorcism because there was some stuff and its spirits running around in that place. But
that backyard has a name, man, and it ain't good, man.
It's like building on an Indian graveyard. You don't want to build a building on top of that.
Yeah, like Pet Cemetery or something.
Exactly. But I was a little surprised by this song. And I'll give you another one while we're talking music. Let's talk a little more music. Then I'm going to get to some football with you. But I was listening today, and they were talking about the bands that are credited. Yes, we did watch Poltergeist. In fact, I think they got the theme from Poltergeist from that shed because I slept in that shed a few nights.
No.
Yes. Joey and I slept in that shed a couple nights.
Frank Catalano, I used to live in Rosebank. I live over by Reman's now, Castle and Corners. I sold my house in Rosebank back in, I think, 2015.
Hey, I don't know if you guys are watching, but the thing on the screen says Biden confuses Kamala Harris with Trump. So it's
what? What?
Yes, he says the screen says Biden confuses Kamala Harris with Trump. Oh, so he's already gotten off to a bad start.
Listen, I'm not a political guy.
I got you. Go
ahead.
I
have to say this. For the safety of the country.
Yep.
Never mind what they're doing to him behind the scenes. For the safety of the country, this man should be removed immediately, if not sooner. Okay, because simply he is such a risk.
Oh my God!
Risk.
Absolutely.
Because he cannot be able to be trusted to make a fucking decision. I wouldn't ask this man if he wants a jelly sandwich with lunch because he must be so shot.
Jeff, that's the thing. I started the show. I don't know if you heard it too much of that.
I was rushing it to get on.
But he, what I said was, whether you love Trump, you hate Trump, this or that, how could anybody sit there and say, I know the guy's mentally incompetent. I don't know who's running the country. I don't know who's making these decisions because he's obviously not. He hasn't been doing it for a while. I'm going to vote for Biden anyway. I mean, if you told me tomorrow, hey, we're going to vote him out right now, we're going to put somebody else new, I understand that. The guy shouldn't be running, and I understand that. But if you're telling me as a human being, and we have a buddy that we're friends with on Facebook and through the show and all that, and our boy Al Albanese, and he's out there touting Biden. And I'm saying, as a human being, as an American citizen, how could you possibly even remotely vote for a guy who basically either has dementia or headed toward it? I mean, I just don't get it.
Tom, let me tell you something. How many billions of people live in this country? The best we can do is an 81-year-old man and a 78-year-old man. This is the best we can do. I don't give a fuck what anybody says about, Trump. No. He's 78 years old. Think of that. 78 years old. This other boob has been well past his prime for God, 20, 30 years maybe, and he's 81 years old. And we're sitting here 3, 4 months, whatever it is, before the elections, talking about these two individuals where this is the best that you could come up with. I'm not saying that the Democrats have anybody better, okay? They're equally scary across the board, okay? But the age, they need to do something about the fucking age. Your last day as president of the United States, you should be no older than 72 years old, 75 years old, whatever it is. People that are closing in on 80 should not be running the most powerful or supposed most powerful country in the world. It's a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke.
I agree. But again, I don't think this is about age. But again, to your point, I'm not disagreeing. I think when you get to that point,
well, you know what, Tom? It's not about the age, but it's about people that are in the position of what they have to deal with, and their age is maybe not going to be a clear fucking thought. And Frank Jeffrey, listen, you do whatever you want with Al Albanese, and I don't blame you. But to me, Al Albanese is an old-time Democrat. I don't think he realizes where that party stands right now at this point in time. I really don't, because a lot of things he says, Al, no problem. And I think he likes the abuse. I really do.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But here's my thing, Jeff. I'm with you. If I had been given the option of a different Republican, I would have voted for him. I would have liked to see Ron DeSantis. I would have loved, there's the other people I would have voted for happily. But if I come down today and the people of the United States chose Trump, people of the United States chose Biden, for whatever reason, those are my two choices. I get it. There are other people that I would have voted for, but I can't walk into the booth and go, all right, Trump's 78, he's 81. No,
listen, Tom, I hear you. You can only deal with the candidates that are in place.
Yeah.
That's okay. I understand that. Yeah. Sometimes your guy gets in, sometimes your guy doesn't. Wow. 4 years goes pretty quick. Okay. So I hear you. Okay. But here's the thing. Okay. You're going to tell me that the entire country wanted Trump in. All right. Okay. That's fine. Nobody's thinking of the overall picture. He's going into this with a different mindset. He wants to get the people that were going after him. Is he going to be the one that leads the country, or is he going to be the one like wrestling? This is what the world is going to come out to be, wrestling. And here he is now to kick everybody's ass.
Well, wait.
He has the belt, and now he's going to go after everybody that was going after him. And I don't.
But here's why I'll tell you. This is why I tell you he won't, because he's already had it, Jeff. Think about it. He was president for 4 years.
But they didn't fuck with him yet.
No, they did. Sure, they did. They had him under investigation. They had him under investigation for 2.5 years, accused him of being a Russian spy. They accused him of being in Vladimir Putin's pocket. They spent $27 million investigating him. They came out and said, by the way, we have this document that says he likes to go to hotels and have Russian hookers pee on him. That's where it all started. That's how that whole investigation started. And he came out and said, I'm going to be president. And he was 4 years. There was no wars. There was no hassles. He didn't go after anybody. Nobody went to jail. But yet under Biden, they went after him, right? Think about it. They've gone after him for all these things. I'm not telling you that what he's going to do. All I can do is go by what he's already done. And he went 4 years, none of that. And if you watch him now, and I know you don't watch a lot of this stuff, he's a completely different human being.
It doesn't matter. He is the type of guy, okay, in his own mind. I think he sits back and looks at himself as a king. You know what I mean? This is just my thought, okay?
Yeah.
I think I'm wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
He has too much for himself. That scares me. That worries me.
Right.
Okay, Frank, you said that he's going to get his revenge by fixing everything they screwed up. Okay,
yeah, I agree with that.
At best, we can hope that that's the case. That's the best that we can hope for. Okay, but I think that he's going to be going a little deeper than that, and I think that it's going to cause a problem. Right now, this country's so fucked that, you know what, Trump ain't fixing it. I don't think you're going to see this country fixed for quite some time. And I'm not talking about, some guy went and used the ladies' room, because that to me, that's a bonus, because the other day I had to use the ladies' room because there was somebody in the men's room. And I was like, fuck it. I identify as a fat man that's got to take a piss now, and I'm going in there. So that didn't bother me.
Yeah.
Okay? But it's the other things.
No, I get it.
Just
I do get it, and I understand. All I would suggest is over the course of time, YouTube it. That way you can watch little pieces here and there. I'm telling you, Jeff, if you watched it and don't listen to the outside stuff, don't listen to the little memes and stuff, he has been a completely different human being. And
you haven't seen. I myself have not really seen much of him saying stupid things.
Yeah, he's been
presidential the first time around.
Absolutely.
It is what it is. I'm not going to worry about it now. Right now, we have a bigger problem, and that's this fucking moron in office right now.
Well, that's the people here. That's the problem. So at the end of the day, Jeff, you're going to walk into it, or maybe you won't walk into a booth, but your two choices.
I will be voting, bro. I will vote.
So at the end of the day, you're either going to vote for one of these two guys, write in Mickey Mouse, vote for Kennedy, vote for somebody else. But at the end of the day, these are our choices, and the end result is going to be, no matter how many people don't like either one of these guys and want to vote one of these two, whether it's Kennedy if he makes the ballot, or Stein, or any of the other people, These are the two choices. And the problem I have with it is we know one. Now, you could say that Trump's too old. I'm not disagreeing. I'm not telling you that 2 years from now we won't be in the same problem with Trump. But right this second, I know one of these guys has a big issue and people want to vote for him. And that scares me that people hate this country enough to say, I hate Trump so much that I'm going to vote for a guy who's never going to be in it.
That's the issue, Tom. That's what the issue is right there. That's hitting it right on the head.
Yeah.
The people that are voting, that are saying about voting for Biden, it's not, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's not so much that they hate the country, it's that they hate Trump more than the damage that Biden can cause.
Yeah.
And they would rather keep Trump out of office than to see what he's going to do. And Frank Catalano, yeah, it's a you know what, Frank, I heard something that you should know.
Uh-oh.
I heard that the world's biggest nuclear bomb is under 3 Mile High Stadium or whatever the fuck it is.
Mile High Stadium.
Right underneath the quarterback section, the quarterback room. And they're ready to launch, bro. They're just waiting for them to get in there for preseason.
My last thing on the politics end of it is this. All I can say is this is the first election we've ever had where we have two guys who've already been president to decide. They usually get a guy who says, I've been president, it's what I've done, and the other guy says, this is what I'm going to do. All you can do is look back to Trump and say, when 5 years ago, if you wanted to buy a house, the average interest rate was 3.25%. It is now 7%, and people paying more. Inflation was less than 1%. It's 3.25% now. It was 9% very recently.
They
gas.
said, hold on one second about inflation, just so you know.
Yep.
They said that this week or this month, this quarter, whatever, was the first time inflation went down since September of 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as I can stand behind Tommy 1,000% with this one. As far as interest rates go, me and my wife decided we bought our house during the pandemic, right before the pandemic started. Mm-hmm. It was a little too small. We tried to sell it twice. The second time we tried to sell it, one day my wife says, I'm going to call up the mortgage broker and see what we found a house we liked. It was around 600,000. And goes, well, I'm going to see what the price is, what it's going to be a month. So I'm like, okay, thinking that, okay, we're going to go up for maybe 2,500 to 3,500. She goes away like, listen, we can't do this. She goes, this is going to be close to $5,000 a month. I'm like, that's going to negate somebody's salary for the month.
That's
and more, and then some. I was like, I can't do that to myself.
Yep, and that's the problem. And Frankie, I did see that. I don't know if you saw it yet, but a kid, let's say he ordered, I think it was from Walmart or one of those places. He had ordered a food order 4 years ago, before Biden, and the food order was $180. So like you go to Amazon or and they have buy it again. So he did the same exact order today, and it came up $520. That's how much more money you're paying today than you were 4 years ago.
Me and my wife met supermarket. It's right around the block over this way, okay? And we usually spend at least $40 to $50 just to get some stuff for dinner and maybe a couple things for the next day.
Right.
Nothing major. Okay. We went to Stop and Shop today. And we bought some stuff, not much, some yogurts, some shampoo. We just walked around the store and, whatever. A variety of different things. Nothing really worthwhile. Over $70. I didn't hear the number. My wife turns around. I hear her say to the girl, did my card work? Was there anything on sale this week? So I didn't say anything. I kind of laughed. We got in the car. And I'm like, what was that? You sounded like an old lady. Did my card work? And she was like, do you know what we spent? I'm like, no. And she was like, $70. So I was like, did you scan the fucking card? What happened there?
Check the card.
Like one bag, one full bag. And another one, the only reason I didn't put everything in it is because I thought it was going to be heavier than what it was, or else it would have been one bag for $70 fucking dollars.
Dude, I food shop in my house. I do every week, and I buy a lot of the same things every week. I mean, that's just it. We know what we like. I buy the same things. It's just repeat. I buy enough for the week. We don't overdo it. You never know when. So what I buy used to be about $135 to $150. It is now anywhere from $190 to $210. It's a 45% change. And listen, regardless of who's president, all I know is that everything I do now, gas, trying to get a mortgage for a house, food shopping, Everything is much more expensive. Why? Because of and again, is it Biden? No, it's the Democratic policies on basically saying we're going to get rid of people's student loans. We're going to let 2 million people into this country and pay for it. So what happens? Everything goes up. Gas prices went up, so everything goes up because it costs more money to deliver. I'm not saying it's going to come flying down if you get Trump in. All I can do is say, for 4 years when Trump was there, I made money. I was able to save money, and I pay less for things. And now I pay a lot more. I got to get rid of the guy who right now couldn't put 3 marbles in a sock. And but Frank Jeffrey, you're 100% right. That is the ultimate. If anybody takes a minute, go to TikTok or wherever you go, Google it and check that video out. But the kid took the same order from 4.5 or 5 years ago and put it up there today, and it was $520. It was
that's absolute insanity, because you know what? Just like everybody else, my wife has to work. Yeah. Okay. And that's fine. She works full time, just like everybody else's wife. So I'm not complaining. Yeah. You know, I know that she would if she could, but she gets up and she goes to work every day. And then you know what she does? She comes home and she makes the best dinner she can with the time that she has. Now, she gets home at 5:30. Mm-hmm. I don't expect this woman to come home and make a 4-course dinner every night. No, that's impossible. That's unrealistic. She gets home. She shouldn't have to come here and start cooking meals like that. Okay. But what she does, maybe we have hamburgers during the week, you know, and something of that nature.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's absolute fucking insanity.
Yeah.
The prices of everything. I remember, I don't know what the prices are. And one day we were getting chopped meat. Mm-hmm. And she was like, "What the fuck is this? What kind of meat is that? Why is that so expensive?" And I was like, "I don't know. What's the matter with the meat?" And she was like, "Last week this wasn't this much." I was like, "Well, you know, I listen. I don't know."
Yeah.
And it was like right around the time of the pandemic, man. Shit started to go up. It sucked, man. It really does suck.
Yeah. And again, listen. My biggest problem, if you take out all the money aspects of it, take all that out. If the Democrats, listen, I've said this many times. I voted for Clinton one time. I voted for Gore and he lost. I voted against George Bush Jr. twice. You know, I voted Republican. I voted Democrat. I consider myself an independent. Today, right now, based on what the Democratic Party believes and all the things they peddle, I wouldn't vote Democrat again ever. Okay, you'd have to really, really show me somebody, because it's socialist. It's too much about, you know, more government, more people getting money from the government instead of going out there and pushing capitalism. And that's why we're in the problem we're having. And that's the main reason to get rid of Joe Biden. Now, again, if the only option is Trump, I get it. You got to bite the pill. All I know is look back at Trump's 4 years and the money. There was no wars. It was the first time in history, in a long time, I should say at least, that we didn't have a president come in and start any sort of a war or conflict. Never happened. Yeah, he said stupid stuff. I get that. But I'll take the stupid stuff over better prices, more law and order, the border being secure, and everything that goes with it than what you're seeing right now. So that's my take on it. But right now I couldn't vote Democrat if you paid me. And you know, again, my two choices are Trump and him. I got to go Trump. And you know, but the problem, Jeff, is I would respect it more for a guy like yourself who said, "Tom, I can't vote for either one. I'm going to vote for Robert Kennedy Jr." I'm just throwing a name, and that's fine.
I know exactly what you're saying, Tom.
But if you called me up and said I'm voting for Biden, I don't care. That to me tells me you can't possibly be a good human being and vote for that guy. No one's the elder abuse, but two, that's the guy who you say is running the country. He can't remember. He wants to drool on his shoes. So,
I fucking drool on his shoes. You're fucking calling the guy from Ukraine, President Putin, or Mr. Putin, whatever you call him, and just everything else that's going on in this man's head. Like the rapid deterioration is just like unfucking believable. Unbelievable.
And to Leonard's point, and 100%, if you're telling me they already caught 360 guys who were on the terrorist watch list sneaking into this country, how many got through? In fact, they were so quiet. They caught 8 guys that they came across. They got stopped. Should never have been allowed in. They let them in anyway. And then they found out like 2 weeks later, they were plotting bomb threats. They were having conversations and they grabbed them and they took them and they took them out of the country. But think of the ones that didn't, huh?
First of all, those immigrants, all right, for lack of a better word, we'll call them immigrants, those terrorists, whatever you want to call them, they didn't sneak in. They walked right through the front fucking door.
Absolutely.
Right through the front door. And everything that you're saying about immigration and the people that are trying to get in this country, and Frank, I saw what you just wrote about your grandparents. I had family members too that came in the right way. Absolutely. They followed the rules. They did what they had to do. Right now, we have soldiers that come back from war, come back from doing their time in other countries, and they're living in the street and wherever the fuck else it is that they're living, and nobody is trying to help them. But yet we're gonna let these fucking jerk-offs come in from the southern border. It's fucking disgusting.
And we're paying thousands of dollars a month, millions of dollars a year for them to live in luxury hotels. For not only for that, to be able to go out and beat up on cops and rob people and rape little kids and think about it. All these guys who've gotten caught lately. Listen, that to me is why I can't vote Democrat. I don't care what Trump says and does. And believe me, he's been good and quiet, and he's been a smart candidate this time. And
at this point in time, he's better off not saying a word.
100%.
And just sitting back and see way right before the election, he could turn around and just go, "I told you so. Look what you're doing. Look what's going on." And that would be great. That would be great. I'm telling you, and I can't stand the fucking guy. That would be unbelievable. With that stupid ass smile on his face and just be like, "I told you so."
So we'll see. But I would tell you, it looks like Joe's, going to have a hard time. To be honest with you, the whole not kidding aside, I'd still rather have Joe than Kamala Harris. She is the worst human being. She is useless. I would not want her as president. I'd rather whoever's running the country now run it, but that with Joe as the meat puppet. But I'll catch up with that later on. Yeah, he's got to be burying himself. This is the worst thing. This is what they want. To be honest with you, this is what they want. They want him to be doing this right now.
You would like to think that this man is burying himself, but the problem goes far beyond this man.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The problem goes for the people that want him in there, and need the people that want him in there. It's like the young Americans, the next up and coming set of voters or people that are going to be adults. They're the ones that are doing this now, that are voting him in.
Yeah.
There's very few people in our age bracket that want to have him. And I know you can't use this as a guide, but on a ad for Biden came up on Instagram for me the other day, begging for money.
Yeah, I get that too.
I saw one of my friends who I like, one guy that I'm friends with. I shouldn't say I'm good friends with him. I'm just friends with him. And he liked Joe Biden. And it said him and 14 others like Biden. So I had to click on it to see who the 14 others were.
Right.
And it's like, there's some scary stuff. Like the people that you would think that some of these people just had a little bit more of a fucking mind. And why are you picking this fucking guy?
Well, that's the problem I have, Jeff. Again, if you in 2020, when people voted for him, and I said, there's a reason why he's hiding in his basement. There's a reason why he's not doing press conferences, because he was incompetent. But that's okay. I didn't know it was to this level. And, I understood it. But now you're seeing it. You've seen it for 2 years. You see how bad the policies are. Immigration, the economy. It's all shit right now. And with that and the mental decline, if you're going to walk into that booth and pull the lever for him, it's suicide. I get you don't want to vote for Trump. Don't vote at all. Go vote for one of the other candidates. But if you're going to walk in there and tell me that that's the best option, man, I got to tell you, I got no respect. I got no respect.
To have to totally agree.
Yeah. So we'll see. I would tell you, he's the only person right now who could take himself out of this. So, right now Obama's trying to cut his legs off. There's a whole bunch of people trying to cut his legs off because he owns the delegates. So if he gets to the Democratic National Convention in August, 5 weeks or 4 weeks from now, if he gets there and he accepts the nomination, boy, oh boy, it's going to be a bloodbath. But I got a feeling after today, some point, I got to think if he really bombs tonight, they got to pull him out. They're going to go after him even more. Because right now, somebody said it today, and they're right. You could survive a lot of things, but when you're being ridiculed, 2 weeks ago, they were, George Clooney, all these guys were raising millions and millions of dollars for him. Today, they're writing letters saying, basically, you got to go, Joe. And here's my problem with that. You knew 3 weeks ago this was happening. The problem is it came to light and it made you look stupid. All these people were covering for him. Harris, Biden, all the Democrats, everybody. This is the worst kept secret out there. But then the American people saw it.
Yeah.
And now they're all running for cover. George Clooney just had a whole bunch of people come. They raised like $25 million for him, taking pictures. He's the guy. Joe's our guy. 4 more years. Now he comes out, writes an op-ed in I think in the Times or one of those newspapers and says, Joe, you got to go. You didn't know this 3 weeks ago? You found out last week? No. Sorry, George. All you people are part of the biggest cover-up in history. This is somebody else who's been running this country for a couple of years now, and they all have known it. And they tried to sneak one past us because they wanted to get him in because they know he can beat Trump because people hate Trump enough to vote for him, but they don't think they hate Trump enough to vote for Harris, and that's the problem.
No, of course not. And I think that if they were smart, listen, something's going to happen. They could just turn around and say, listen, dude, this is you're being replaced, period. That's it. There's nothing that you can do about it. It's for the better of the movement. That's all they're going to say to him.
Well, they've been trying. They've been trying. They've been trying, and he's been emphatic. I'm not quitting. I'm not going anywhere. Sorry, Chris. Sorry, Chris. We're trying to do it justice by mumbling our conversation. So we're trying to mumble and stumble.
Our own fucking stupidity.
Yeah, let's get to some music and sports. We talked enough politics for tonight. I do want to bring up a news topic, Jeff, a music topic. And I was listening to one of the Sirius stations today, and they were talking about the most influential metal bands. So, of course, they first thing they came out with Sabbath and Zeppelin. And now this is after playing an Iron Maiden tune. Right, they played "Hallowed Be Thy Name," and then the guy came on and he was saying, of course, Zeppelin and Sabbath are the two bands that everybody associates metal with, and I would think we both agree. I'm not the biggest Zeppelin fan, but I would agree that those are the starting points. But they said there's two other bands that most rock metal historians will put in there, and they're surprising as the next two most influential or Mount Rushmore bands.
Mount Rushmore, the Mount Rushmore of tomfoolery, there he is. I have a Biden flag.
Chris, do me a favor, I want a picture of that. Jeff sitting at the desk with the Biden flag in front.
You get a picture of me passing out at the desk. That's what you get.
But the other two bands that they mentioned, I had a really big problem with because, first of all, I'm not even sure I consider them metal. But if I do want to give one of the bands as a metal band, I just don't put them in there. But so do you want to take a guess on the two bands that they added to the list behind Zeppelin? They're 70s bands. I mean, one of them probably hit their biggest strides in the 80s, but the other one, I don't know when their stride was.
I don't know. I mean, would it be I gotta take a guess. It wouldn't be Rainbow, right?
Nope. In that vein, though. In that vein, but not Rainbow. Yep. Think of another band from that era. Multiple different versions of the band.
Purple? Deep Purple?
Yep. One was Purple, and the other one was Uriah Heep. Yeah. Now, Purple I thought was a stretch because while I understand Purple, thanks, Chris. Thanks for stopping by. See, UFO was a good one, Frankie. The problem is I can't put them as a Mount Rushmore. I think they're influential in a lot of bands. But to me, it's Zeppelin and Sabbath. And then if you really want to go next, it's got to be Maiden and Priest or, even Priest and then Metallica because Metallica shot that whole thrash thing off from there. But to me, I can't put Purple in there, Jeff. I don't put Purple. First, I think they're more classic rock than they're metal. And Uriah Heep, to me, is definitely not a metal band.
Well, I will say this much. Deep Purple every once in a while I only have a few songs from them. I'm not a big Deep Purple fan.
Right.
But there was a song that I was playing earlier today. I think it was called Stormbringer. I'm going to see if I can get it. And it was actually a pretty decently heavy song.
Okay.
But I mean, nobody's going to be confused and say that, oh, no, that's Sabbath or that's this or that's no. But it was a good song.
Yeah.
I just don't remember which one it was.
Frankie, I agree with you. See, Frankie, I always say this, and Jeff's probably going to shake his head, but I always say the same thing. There's two trees. You got the metal tree, which starts with Sabbath and then works its way up, through the bands, with Maiden and Priest and all those bands, Saxon and all that good stuff, all came out of that. Then there's the Zeppelin tree, which to me is more AC/DC and Van Halen, even Kiss. That's kind of the hard rock, classic rock guys. So I don't ever really put Zeppelin as a metal band. I think they're the more hard rock, and then obviously headed toward the classic rock. So that's the way I see it.
I'd say more bluesy.
Yeah, but I don't consider Zeppelin a metal band. But if you wanted to say, well, those two bands, and then like I said, some people consider AC/DC a metal band. I don't. I mean, I think I think it's a hard rock band. Same thing with Van Halen. I don't consider them a metal band.
Yes, how could you not say that Van Halen isn't a metal band? When you listen to what is it's off the first album. The riff is so nasty and dirty, man. It's a metal riff.
I think you can go. It's like Kiss. I can go through Kiss songs and find the odd Kiss song that's metalish. But overall, when I look at them, I look at their whole catalog. I just don't put them in the metal category. I gotta
look up this song now so that I can get it. It's I ain't talking about Love Has Got It. I'm the one. With the way that starts off, that's a metal riff, man.
Yeah, again, I'm not disagreeing that there's not some metal tinge to it. And it came out in a spot, 83. They're on the metal day, right? They were all part of that. I get it, and I think that there's parts of that. But when I look at their entire catalog, especially the later stuff, but even that early stuff, there's a lot of stuff there that's more hard rockish. Now, again, if you told me I consider them Van Halen metal, I couldn't argue it. There's a lot of stuff about it. The drums, the heaviness of the drums, obviously Eddie's licks could definitely be in that thing. But I just.
Oh, thank you, Joe. That's very nice of you. Thank you very much, man. That's Chris's dad. Mom and Dad wishing me happy birthday. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, very nice.
Very
thank
cool.
You for popping in. Yeah, thank you for popping in. So yeah.
Was Van Halen considered hard rock now for what they are, or are they considered or am I considering them metal for the time that they came out?
That's a good question.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that again, you could. There's some cross. I mean, it's the same thing to me with AC/DC. I mean, there's a lot of AC/DC stuff that I would consider metal, but I don't consider them metal. They just kind of don't. They do. It's kind of in between for me. But to me, those bands, I just don't consider them metal bands. They're just kind of outside of the genre.
Bells, you don't consider Hell's Bells to be a metal song, man?
You can.
Think of this before you answer the question. Think of the other metal music that was out at that time. Metallica was not out in 1980.
Nope.
Anthrax wasn't out in 80. Slayer wasn't out in 80. You had Sabbath. You had Ozzy. You had Rainbow. You had Zeppelin was just on its way. They were on their way out because Bonham died, and just a handful of other metal bands. Mm-hmm. To me, that's a metal song. I mean, you listen. We can argue this till we're blue in the face.
Yeah. Again, I agree with you. There's some metal stuff to it. Like, listen, the first Def Leppard album is a metal album, right? But everything after that is not metal. To me, there are pieces and parts to some of those bands because that was the influence of the time. In 1980, to me, the stuff that Van Halen was doing in the 70s is different than, say, Hellbent for Leather. Hellbent for Leather is metal. So the stuff that Saxon and Accept and Maiden were doing in the late 70s, early 80s, that to me was metal sounding stuff. But the AC/DC and the Van Halen was in that tinge, but it wasn't quite there. But again, it's an argument I wouldn't want to have. Just in my opinion, I don't consider their stuff metal. I think they have some pockets of their catalog that were metalish because that's what was going on. So I think it's easy to, it's like Kiss. Do I consider Kiss a disco band? No, but they did a disco album.
No, but you know what? Kiss did something that another band was also doing at the time, and I think that's what they did it for.
Yeah.
Queen used to change their style of music almost with every band, almost with every album that they were doing. They rolled with the changes. They also put out a disco album or
Yes.
disco orientated album
Mhm.
around the same time that Kiss put out that album. Now, if you're Kiss, are you going to go against what Queen did? Like, you're not going to look at Queen and be like, if they did it, we're doing it. You know?
No. I don't put Queen as a metal band. I mean,
no, definitely not. I don't even put Queen as I have a hard time putting Queen. Definitely a hard time putting Queen as a hard rock band. I have a hard time putting Queen as a rock band.
How would you classify? I would say they're rock band because
I don't know because
again, a lot of their stuff is showy, like very showy tunes.
Yes, it is. Yes,
right?
It is.
A lot of it's kind of progressive. It's kind of on the borderline of being progressive. So
yes, it is.
So you're right. They're a very tough band to classify.
I would classify them as a band.
Yeah,
a band. Queen is a band.
And to be honest with you, I think that's why they've never garnered that status that probably they should have gotten, because they could never be pigeonholed. That the people who loved Queen, but like if you were a metalhead, you didn't necessarily wind up with Queen. If you were a hard rock guy, you didn't really wind up with Queen because their music didn't fit. Like in 1980, I wasn't listening to Queen. If I was, it was something off of the Game, and it was because it was so popular on the radio. But other than that, I wasn't listening to anything Queen or even UFO. But Queen kind of just fell through the cracks, and they're one of the great bands of all time. I'm sorry.
I didn't say Queen fell through the cracks. I think Queen filled in a lot of the cracks.
Why? By being so diverse in their stuff.
Definitely, man. Definitely. You listen to remember the song we did, Son and Daughter?
Sure.
That had a metal vibe to it.
Absolutely.
100%. There was another song, a couple, man, I can't remember. Man, my brain is shrinking.
Well, I mean, Tie Your Mother Down to me is very close to a metal song. I think that's got a very Tie Your Mother Down.
It has metal overtures in it, yeah. But I mean, you listen to some of those songs, especially the first two. They have one, White Man. It's called. It's about Indians.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's, you listen to that song, it's got a very metal vibe to it. And they're, they got some metal songs without a doubt. It would be hard to. I would actually agree with Leonard Anthony. Is Queen pop rock? It's possible.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Again, I think they're one of the most diverse bands, and I think it's actually hurt them because every album, and sometimes inside an album, they're so diverse in the style of song that it's hard to fit into a category. And a lot of times people kind of. When I growing up, I listened to nothing but metal. So, if you weren't a metal band, I wasn't paying attention. And I knew who Queen was, and I paid attention, but I wasn't a huge fan. It wasn't until probably recently that I became a big Queen fan. And it's because, when you listen back and you realize how talented a band they were and how different they did, it's crazy.
This is the songs from Queen. First album came out in 1973. Keep Yourself Alive. Okay. That could be considered a metal song. Okay. Great King Rat. It's a good song.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly metal. Liar. That's a metal song. Son and Daughter. Then you got something like Seven Seas of Rye, which is definitely not metal. It's a little upbeat, a little popish.
Right.
And then when you go to Queen 2, okay, Father to Son was not a metal song, but White Queen, it was kind of a metal song. Olga Battle. If you don't know Olga Battle, man, I don't know what to tell you, and there's several other songs on that album that just like unbelievable. March of the Black Queen. It's great stuff, man. Great stuff.
No, I've learned to be very. I've learned how much. I mean, first off, I think that Brian May is one of the best, if not most recognizable tones of all time.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. And I didn't realize how great a bass player John Deacon was. And obviously, Freddie to me is one of the best singer frontmen. Not only was he a great singer with a great voice, but he was a great frontman. And you get a lot of guys who have one or the other, but very rarely do you get guys like that, Jeff, who were just top, top of the craft on both ends. And Freddie Mercury is it to me. If I was starting a band, he's the singer. Like that's the guy I would want. Is it a little too operatic? Yeah, to a certain extent. But I think that guy could sing anything and make it sound good.
Dude, listen, you know what the problem with Freddie Mercury is that he came out a little too early compared to some other metal singers. Frank Catalano, listen to Great King Rat and tell me that's not a great song, by the way. I saw your comment. Awesome song. If Freddie Mercury had come out 2 or 3 years later and he went up against Halford, Dio, Dickinson at a later time, Jeff Tate at a later time, believe me, we wouldn't have been talking about all of those guys.
Oh, no, definitely not. Yeah.
He would have. He's not a metal singer
no.
because he didn't come out at a metal time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, no, 100%. And to me, again, if I was it would be a close competition between him and Dio because I'm a big Dio fan. I think Dio's the best metal singer, and I love the other guys. But if I had to start a band and I wanted a guy, Freddie Mercury's my guy. I mean, not only is he tearing it up with his voice, but he's putting on a show and he's. I mean, just watch Queen at Live Aid. To me, it's probably one of the best performances of all time, and I think that's to me when I watch a band take over a stadium of 100,000 people and get them in the palm of their hand. He did it. They did it. It's the best live performance you'll ever watch.
I don't know. Jeff Tate is not gay. He actually was married and had a wife. I just think that Freddie Mercury overall, I saw Jeff Tate live many times.
Me too.
I don't think he has a strong voice. He doesn't have the strength that Freddie Mercury does or Ronnie James Dio.
No, I agree with that.
Alfred. He just doesn't have that kind of power.
No, but I would tell you one thing. But I tell you the first Queensryche, the EP, the first time I heard that scream, whatever you want to call it, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. To me, that was one of the best vocal performances I have ever heard. I've seen. I just saw him recently. He sounded fantastic. I've seen Jeff Tate probably close to a dozen times, either with Queensryche or without. I'd say probably 7 times. And I think he's fantastic. He's one of my favorite singers. But to your point, Jeff, I'm with you. He's not in the same category as Freddie Mercury or Ronnie James Dio. He's a step below.
James Dio has a voice. Rob Halford has a voice. Just listen to fucking Victim of Changes, man.
Yeah.
With Rob Halford. He has a voice. Even now, he can't do what he once did. And I understand they have certain things helping him out at this point in time.
Yep.
It's just the way that music is.
Yeah.
But does Halford have that voice today? I would say no. In the studio, we all could have that voice.
Yeah, of course. You get 20 takes. You add a little this, you add a little that. Yeah.
You know,
I'm with you on that. But to me, guys, if you haven't seen, I'm sure most of us here have. But to me, Freddie Mercury at Live Aid is the best live performance that I've ever watched or been around. And I've seen some good ones, and there's a lot of great ones. That is the best performance by a guy taking over a crowd at an event like. Think about it. He stood out in a day where you had Paul McCartney, Phil Collins playing on 2 different coasts. You had some of the greatest singers and entertainers at the time, and he stood out and stood way out in front of all of that. To me, that says something. But it's a great conversation, guys. But again, I can't put Deep Purple and Uriah Heep in any sort of a Mount Rushmore of metal. It just doesn't work. We can go a lot of different ways with it. We can change it around, but
I'm going to try to fit them in, and I'll tell you why I'm going to try to fit them in.
You're going to fit those 2 bands into a Mount Rushmore of metal.
I'm going to try right now.
Zeppelin's a stretch. Go ahead, let me hear you. Put me.
Okay. We got to have Sabbath in the Mount Rushmore because they invented the genre of metal. Would you not say?
I would agree.
Okay, a lot of great musicians have come through Black Sabbath. A lot of great singers have come through Black Sabbath.
Absolutely.
Okay? So I would definitely put them up as number 1. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say that you could put Led Zeppelin in the Mount Rushmore of metal.
Come on, Biden, get it out.
Only because, watch yourself there, son. I'll be kicking your ass later on this year, bitch. Don't you forget that. Okay, because of their bluesy influence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would say that they made a blues or bluesy feel. A lot of bands could fit under that. AC/DC, Badlands, that they had a bluesy feel to them. Maybe not necessarily metal that where they were fucking sitting there thrashing and shit like that. Because I think Metallica came from more of the Black Sabbath tree. Okay?
I agree. Yep, I agree.
All right. So now we got a blues tree and we got a heavy tree. Now you got keyboards. And who does keyboards? Blackmore and Deep Purple. Now Blackmore split from fucking Deep Purple and made Rainbow. And if you listen to the early Rainbow albums when he had Ronnie James Dio, Kill the King, off of that album, Long Live Rock and Roll, that was some early metal.
Yep, I agree. I
could put them on the Mount Rushmore because a lot of metal keyboard, UFO, Ozzy used keyboards.
Yep.
I think that Deep Purple made it acceptable for certain metal bands to explore using keyboards in music. I don't think it was their intention to be a metal band when they first came out, but
yeah,
they gotta fall under something. But now comes the fourth member of the Mount Rushmore. Okay, I can't put Uriah Heep there. One, I don't know enough about the band. Two, anything I ever heard from Uriah Heep, not the heaviest of bands. I wouldn't say that they're a metal band. Okay, if anything, you know what I would say? What's missing from that Mount Rushmore of metal bands? A three-piece band.
What three-piece band would you put in there as a metal band?
Cream.
Oof, interesting.
Cream, because you listen to stuff like Crossroads. Yes, it's blues, but listen to the fucking lead breaks. Listen to some Cream stuff. There was some heavy stuff Cream was doing. Whether you want to say it or not, Cream, I believe that Rush came from Cream. A couple other. There was Triumph. I would maybe not say at this point in time Triumph is a metal band.
No.
But at one point in time, Allied Forces is a metal song.
Well, again, I think that album might even have been a metal album. But again, I think it's the same thing. I think there are bands that had heavier songs because they came out in a time when that was prevalent. But I certainly wouldn't. I would put them as a progressive band. Even Queensryche. Overall, is Queensryche a metal band? Probably, but they had a lot of progressive stuff after the first couple things.
Yeah, they are. But so does Iron Maiden.
Correct. After the seventh album, yes, you're after 6 or 7.
So I would definitely say that Maiden came out of the fucking Sabbath slot.
100%. Priest too.
Along with a lot of these other bands. The only reason I'm not saying that all of these bands had to hit the scene the same day. Okay. Now I'm just trying to make an argument because this is what we do on the show. We try to come up with things and try to make them fit. And I'm like, now you have a blues-based metal band. You got a heavy doom sludgy based metal band. You have a keyboard based metal band, and now you have a three-piece based metal band.
Yeah. And again, I can buy you Cream stuff because you don't have to sound like 80s metal to have been the influences. Like Sabbath is super close. Like if you think when Sabbath came out, what was it 71?
Sabbath?
Yeah. What was the first album?
68, but their first album came out in 70.
Okay. So in 1970 and what came out in 1981, 82, 83 doesn't sound obviously the same thing. It was very muddy. It's different. But,
look who was in the band in 80 and 81, Ronnie James Dio.
No,
but their style of music completely different.
Correct. But I'm saying is you can make that transfer that 10 years later, it morphed from what that was to that. The Cream thing I can buy because yes, you're right. There's a lot of heaviness to it, that 10 years later transformed into some of those other bands. Hey, Paul, how you doing, brother? So I can buy it. And again, I think you can change it. I have a problem with the Deep Purple thing because it just, to me, it doesn't fit. But, again, if I was doing a Mount Rushmore, and we've done it here a bunch of times, I think you could go Zeppelin, Sabbath, and then you jump into those 80s bands. Because everybody else in between this, I don't think they were influential. I don't think they changed anything. I think the Maiden and Priest came in and changed metal again at that point.
I could go with that, but don't forget that uh, Purple did come out in the late '60s, early '70s.
Yes,
They
agreed.
were, an '80s band. As a matter of fact, they believe they broke up, and then they came back out in 1984 with Perfect Strangers.
Yeah, again, the reason I don't have a major problem with Purple is because there's so many guys in the band, became metal. Like you said, with Blackmore, a lot of those guys played in metal bands, went to other metal bands, and blew up. So I can live with it. If we were talking about a Mount Rushmore, those two bands, if you were starting a thing, we were having a conversation. Do you think at any point in the first 20 minutes of naming bands, either one of those two bands would wind up in our conversation?
What two? What are you talking about?
Deep Purple and Uriah Heep. If we were having a metal band thing, it would never happen.
No, matter of fact, I would say Uriah Heep, definitely not. Although right. I have seen more than one person bring them up.
Okay.
Deep Purple, maybe, depending on which way the conversation did go. Okay. But because they're a keyboard-orientated band, I just don't see that.
Yeah.
No, I just don't see it.
Oh, I agree. Again, guys, Hot Rocket Sports. That's Chef. I'm Tom. We're here celebrating Jeff's birthday, as we do every year. And we're 2 weeks away from our NFL training camp show and our 10th anniversary. So come here, July 20. I think that's the 25th is the actual date. The actual date of the first show is July 26, 2014. That's 10 years to the day I turned on the mics, staring at a wall in my wife's sewing room, and I did a show all by myself. I couldn't do 3 hours. I got to an hour and a half and went, all right, I got nothing to talk about. I got to call it a night. So the very, very, I'm going to see if I can dig out the very first show. And 10 years. Thanks, Paul. I'm going to see if I can find the 10-year show and play a couple of minutes of it next on that day, just to kind of see where it started to where it is now and all the friends we made along the way. And thank you all for being friends with Jeff and Itis. A lot of guys on this that come on the show that I have never even met. John Marhefka, Adam Hines, so many people that Jeff and I've met and become friends with. Mike Weissman, who we've never even crossed paths with, but we would consider friends. Paul, at least Paul, we've met. I've met Paul a couple of times, and is one of my favorite bands locally. But there's so many people that we've met through the show, so I'm so thankful. And we've got to talk to a bunch of people, and we'll do a little retrospective. I'll throw out some of the names. We'll talk maybe if I get a chance to play some of the interviews that we've done along the way. Lita Ford, Geezer Butler, God, there's so many. Jeff Tate, Pete Rose. Man, God, over 200 guests we've had on the show. I'm so thankful to be doing this. Leonard, you're always welcome. Yes, Satriani was one of my favorites.
Yeah, there's been a ton, man, and I didn't want to stop you while you were going, but there's so many that is it really. I mean, for me, I would have to say Geezer Butler, of course, being a bass player and everything else, but just unbelievable. Some of the people that have come in and out of here, and when they do come, so most of them are very fucking cool.
Yes, yeah. I'm sure Tommy John was a great guest. I mean, like Satriani was super cool. Geezer Butler was great too. Unfortunately, we only had him for a few minutes. Brian Blair. We've got to talk to so many people, iconic people that we grew up listening to. And got to be friendly with. What's the guy's name from Manowar? I'm drawing a blank.
Ross the Boss.
I mean, there's a guy we've had him on the show a dozen times. We've had celebrities co-host shows with us. The drummer from what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. You guys gonna go to my? I keep getting text messages from them. I might actually show up if everybody's going. It's been a long time since I went to the Mount Carmel Feast in Staten Island.
I'm definitely going to go soon. I don't know when, but I'm definitely going to be going.
Yeah, So we've been lucky. We've got to talk to some iconic people that I would say like people. Blaze Bailey was fantastic. I mean, one of my favorite guests of all time was so complimentary and had so much fun with us. So we'll do a little retrospective on the 25th.
Yeah, I should have, Blaze Bailey told me that I could stay home from work.
He certainly did. Blaze Bailey, one of my. I'm gonna play all those clips if I can. I'm gonna get them queued up. Listen, what's his name? Carmine Appice, who one of the best guests we've ever had. But there's a guy who can talk.
Oh my God. That? You couldn't even fucking breathe.
Jeff and I'll let it out a bit. Jeff and I, we were
in a feast.
We were texting back and forth. They're like, dude, this guy don't shut the fuck up. Now his brother was a great guest.
Yes.
Vinny was an absolute. He had such a blast with Vinny. We had so much fun with Vinny that he called his brother and said, "You got to do the show." And Carmine did our show 3 times.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, we did Vinny Appice at least twice.
Vinny was twice with us. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He was real cool, man. Yeah.
Vinny was great. Like I said, we were lucky enough, and these are guys that, I remember listening to Carmine Appice in what's his name's house across the street from you. What's his name? Patty Kayaza.
Yeah.
I listened to Vanilla Fudge for the first time. He's like, "You got to hear this drummer. This guy is the greatest." And then we were sitting there and we interviewed him. He sent me a book. I got a signed autograph book from the guy. So again, I'm not telling the death note of the show, but I would just say through the show, we interviewed Lita Ford. Did you do the Lita Ford interview with me?
Yes, I did, man. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, she was talking about Eddie Van Halen wearing the panties. Still one of my favorite interviews of all time. So, I mean, we've had some great stuff. Giza was great. Again, I'm sure I'm leaving out a bunch of people, but, it's good. KK Downing was another good one. He was on the phone with us 1:00 in the morning in England. That was a really good guest. I tried to get him on again, and his people were a pain in the ass, man. Just a simple pain in the ass about trying to get him on a second time.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, why make it so hard? What's so difficult? Do you want the guy to do it? Yes or no?
Meanwhile, Jeff Tate would come on all the time, but Jeff Tate I found to be the most obnoxious of all the guests. He did the interview. He did the interview and all that, and he was good about it. But he was not my favorite. Michael Wilton from Queensryche, we had him on a few times. Another good guy. Michael Sweet from Striper was one of my favorite interviews. Jeff didn't do that one with me. I loved Michael Sweet for that interview. He was such a good guy. So again, the bass player from Foreigner we had on. He was also the bass player from Dokken. Jeff Pilson. Yeah, another. Jeff Pilson's on the phone with us. He's backing out of the driveway, going to pick up his kid from somewhere. And we were talking. It was just we've been lucky to talk to so many great people on the show. I gotta tell you, it's really been fun. And like I said, we have no time clock on this thing. We'll do it as long as we feel up to it. And maybe one of these days somebody will say yes to an interview. It's been a while since somebody said yes to me. I keep getting a lot of no's.
Who are you asking?
I've said that stuff to Joe Klecko. I thought I had Joe Klecko, then I lost him. There's been a few guys, couple of musicians that I tried to get. I'm trying to think of who it was, but a couple of people out there. Jakey Lee, I thought I had, didn't get him. I was going to try to go another way through. There's another guy, Anthony Esposito. He's been in a bunch of bands, including Red Dragon Cartel.
Yeah. You said no?
I didn't ask him directly, but I should have. I thought I had Alice Cooper through Damon Johnson. He loved doing our show. And Damon, I'm going to call up Alice Cooper's people. I was back and forth, and then all of a sudden gone. They just kind of said no. So, wow. Yeah, it's so hard. It's so much work. And nowadays they want to know, before the podcasts and live streams got popular, people didn't care. Now it's like, how many clicks do you get? How many views do you got? How many this do you got? It's like, I can go there, show you there's 1,500, there's 3,000. We've had 8,000, but we've had shows where it's, 100. I mean, people pop in for a few seconds.
Well, you know what? When you're getting certain people on, even 8,000 is not much. And
no.
Oh yeah, we've had a wrestler on here or there.
Yeah, we've had B. Brian Blair was the biggest one. I've tried Hulk Hogan. I was talking with Bruce the Barber Beefcake's wife or girlfriend. We were texting. Yeah. We were texting back when she's shopping. She would text me, "I'm shopping. Well, what are we gonna do with Brutus? He's gonna be on it." I mean, to the point where we got to be. I felt like I was being friends with the woman. And then all of a sudden, she was gone. Like, no, Like no, like he decided not to, just completely disappeared. If I tell you how many of those I've had, Bob Backlund, I was texting with Bob Backlund's people. He called me. I have somewhere down the line, I have a phone call. I got a message from Bob Backlund about doing the show.
Yeah, man, that's.
I mean, that to me, you get close. It's just now, especially nowadays, with all the people doing podcasts. 10 years ago, I bet you there wasn't a 10,000 people doing podcasts and live streams. Now, every single person, every athlete, every musician, everybody's got a podcast or a live stream.
Yeah, you're right.
So
that's what makes it hard for these people to get off.
Absolutely.
Just because you can get a fucking connection, like, hey, you want to be on my podcast? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the first thing they tell you is, okay, can you send me your bio screen and tell me how many hits you get every week? And if you don't have 10,000 people listen to you every week, they don't want to bother with you. So you send it out, let it out. Let I like Dina; she's great. And I watch her shows when they pop up on there. I don't know if she doesn't fit, but who knows? Maybe we'll do a old time Rosebank one, and she can pop in and sing a tune for us. Would be great. But like I said, we do what we do, and we have fun doing it. And I try. I every so often I send out stuff, and I get close, and then I get frustrated, and I stop trying. Yeah,
it sucks, man. And there's certain people that you see them. I'm not saying anybody we know, okay, but there's people where you're like, how the fuck did this guy get him? And you're trying to get the bass player from Queensryche, say, and meanwhile, like, this guy's hosting shows for a week straight with like Jeff Tate, or he's got Steve Harris on. How the fuck did that happen?
Yeah,
and it's like, how? I don't know, man. Listen, it is.
That's it. So listen, we do this every week to talk to each other, and we're lucky enough to get guys like Paul and Leonard and Frank Catalano, and to me, it's almost just like a community where we can all show up every week and kind of air out our grievances and talk about our sports teams or our music things, and it's a place that people can kind of get meet up and say hello, and maybe get caught up on some politics, or maybe chat about something that the regular that they don't get a chance to talk about with the people on WFAN or one of the other podcasts. You can get on here, and I tell people all the time, you want to come on, let me know. I'll throw you a link. You come on for a few minutes, and you can talk about all you want. You can promote whatever you want, and that's what we do here. Absolutely on that one, Paul. FJB is right. I hear you didn't have a great press conference. I'll watch it when I'm done on the show in about 20 minutes. So in the meantime, I want to throw a couple.
That may be all part of the plan with this fucking guy.
No, it definitely is. No, there is a reason why the Democrats are push him to do this interview today. That right now is because they want him to fall down and have a reason to go after him. They don't want him to run, but they can't force him out. They want him to step down, to be that bad and say, I'm not doing this. Step aside.
He's not going to run. He's not going to be in the running for president. I can tell you that much right now. What's going to happen, though, is they're starting this process now. He may even get the nomination, because the later they replace him, it's going to throw everybody for a fucking loop.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, totally agree. Frank Catalano, there are people that we're friends with or know, and you kind of go, I hope that person will, step up for us and say, hey, you want me to get you so-and-so or get that one for you? And, and they don't. And I'm trying to think if I've ever done that. I don't think I ever have. Like Vinny Appice said, I'm going to get my brother on for you. Like, I didn't ask him to. Damon Johnson said, hey, you want Alice Cooper? I'm close to Alice. We play golf. I'm really close to his manager. I'll reach out to him. And he did. So, people have offered to do that for us. I don't know if I've ever asked anybody to ask somebody to get on the show for us. Can you? I
don't want to say. I don't want to mention names. Okay, it's not our old friend. Okay, that I can tell you, and you'll know who it is as I say it. We know somebody that should have been helping us out immensely, and just didn't. Okay, you know who he is, and
I'm not sure if I know.
You know. It wasn't Joey.
No, I got that. I
Somebody
figured
else
that.
with a podcast that could have turned around and said, "Listen, you got to do me a favor, please." Even if he did it every fifth one, because he was getting bigger names, and he should have done the right thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, even if he did 1 out of 10, what he was getting could have helped us out a little bit. You know,
Hey, Paul,
you're talking about joining everything.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it. Paul, I would love. Athletes are the hardest to get. Like Joe Klecko's people, I must have went back and forth. The guy to the point where the guy said, "All right, what do you want to talk to him about?" And I said, "I want to talk about it. He just got elected to the Hall of Fame. I want to talk about his career. I want to talk about this and that." I said, "I'll promote anything he wants to promote." And he goes, "Great, yeah, no problem. I'll get back to you." And he ghosted me after that. Then you get like Ron Bloomberg, the former Yankee. I sent him a message. The guy calls me on the phone. "Hey, Tom, it's Ron Bloomberg. How you doing?" George Foreman, I sent him a message. Call me from the dentist chair. George Foreman calls me from the dentist chair. "Hey, buddy, I got your message. I'd love to do your show." George Foreman did it twice. Here's a guy who's
Ron Bloomberg, I think, was looking to do something a little bit more than what he was. He needed the help of a show like this.
Well, that's what happened. After he did our show, he decided to do his own show. Now, I don't think it continued on after that. He did it for a little while and it disappeared. But he definitely took our show and said, "Oh shit, I could do something like this," and did it. So, but again, I never want to put that on somebody to say, "Hey, can you do this for me?" Again, Paul, if you got a connection to Kevin Moss and you want to put it our way, we'd love that. People like that, I send messages to all the time. I can't tell you how many people I've emailed in sports to try to get on the show in past, present, future. Rocky Bleier, I must have sent Rocky Bleier a dozen messages. Never once got back to me. Terry Bradshaw, I've sent a dozen messages to. Never got back to me. I mean, I can't.
It's not like Terry Bradshaw. He could be suffering from fucking CTE and he don't even know it.
But it's just athletes. Ray Boomer Mancini. I thought was going to get on. He disappeared on me. There's a bunch of those kind of guys. You get him, you get something back. They go, "Oh yeah, let me think. Send me a message. Tell me about this." And you do, and then like you have a couple of messages back and forth. He goes, "I'm busy that night." Well, even beat Brian Blair, who's a great guy to come on. He came on for 10 minutes. Like he got back to me in 30 seconds. "Yeah, I'd love to be on your show." And he goes, "Oh, it's Thursday night. My wife's giving me all time, so I'm going to be on for about 10 minutes. I'm looking for an hour here."
Yeah.
So I actually had Nick Fotiu on once. Was a great guy. It's funny. I used to see Nick Fotiu in a bar in my town all the time, and I never went up to him and bothered him. And this is a guy that I grew up. I loved. He was from the same neighborhoods, and I didn't get it. And then Joey Gansas reached out to him, and I got him on the show through Joey. And then he liked it so much that his people were supposed to get us to do a live show from one of his events. They reached out and said, "Would you like to do your show at the Nick Fotiu Foundation dinner? All these players are going to be there." I was like, "Are you fucking kidding? Of course I'd love to do that." And that went back and forth, and then they disappeared. So shit happens. And I didn't even ask. They offered it to us. But yeah, Nick Fotiu was on. He was a good interview. I had fun with Nick Fotiu.
Yeah, some of these guys too, like you think about the names, okay? Nick Fotiu, he's an island boy. We all know that. So you can always ask him questions that, he'd be pretty much an easy interview. Yeah. But you get some of these people on, and then after you say, "Hey, how you doing?" and they answer that question, and it's like, what am I going to talk to this guy about?
Oh, no. Yeah, listen, back in the day when Joey was setting up the show, was the producer, and Joey did a fantastic job. But sometimes I would get guys on, and I'm like, I have no idea what to talk to this person about. Like I always say, I used to have this habit. I would interview the person every day before I actually interviewed them. I'd be in the shower going, "All right, and what about this?" And then I'd answer the question, and I'd have to interview. I would interview the guy every single day, the person every single day until I interviewed them, because that way I was prepared. But there were certain guys, Jeff, and Jeff will tell you, there's times we were talking to people and we would text each other going, "I don't know what to ask. I have no idea what to say right now." And that's just right. See you, Paul.
Yeah, Paul, man. Thank you.
Love you too, my man. But yeah, I mean, listen, we certainly.
Lita Ford was one of those, because I remember her, and she was just like So, Lita, what's going on? Nothing.
Oh yeah, first 3 minutes.
First 2 minutes or so.
Oh yeah, I thought this was going to be very quickly over. I remember Mike Passamonte. I remember talking to him about it, and he used to listen to the show early on, and then we gave him his own show, and he was part of our show every week. But Mike, I remember seeing Mike at work. He said, "Tom, in the first 3-4 minutes, I thought, oh my God, I felt so terrible for you." And he said, at the end of the day, it was one of the best interviews he's ever listened to, because it was like all of a sudden the switch went off, and she would just tell you anything she wanted to know. And that funny one about Lita was they almost pulled her, and I had to swear up and down on Bibles that I wouldn't ask her about her husband or her marriage. And I promised myself, I won't do it. If you tell me not to, I won't go there. And she brought it up, and I ignored it. And then she brought it up again, and I said, "Fuck it! If she's bringing it up, it ain't my fault." And we went with it. But that was one of the best interviews that I ever did with you and her. I thought that was one of our best interviews.
Yeah,
and, it was fun, and it's still one of those that every once in a while I go back and listen to. But listen, we've been blessed. We've had a lot of fun. We've had over 500 shows, and we've been doing it for 10 years. And other than a few shows where you missed for a couple things that I've missed, and this, you've been part of 90% of all the shows. I mean, one way or the other. Early on as a contributor and a caller, and then at some point you decided you wanted to be in, and it's our show ever since.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, and like I said, there's no stamp on the clock right now. We'll see where it plays and see how it goes. But guys, we're 2 weeks from from our anniversary, and I will do my best to get some old clips and some of the old interviews up so we can hear it. And I used to play all the buttons on Andy Parker from UFO was another good interview. What's his name?
Andy Parker,
yeah, Bucky.
I was there for that one.
Huh?
I don't think I was there for that one.
No, I did that one. That was weird. I had to do that one during the day. I think during the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken. I'm almost positive, because you can only do it during the day. I remember being home and doing that. Another good one was Phil Collin from Def Leppard. We got him 3 times. One of the best interviews. One of the nicest human beings you're ever going to meet. I remember telling the story. The first show that they ever did after Rick Allen lost his arm. The first show they did was in Staten Island. At what was the name of that bar, Jeff? Crazy name. Oh my God, I never went to it. I drove by it a million times as a kid.
Rock Palace?
No. It had a weird name to it. Shoot, I can't think. I draw it up like. Thank you, Frank. We appreciate that. But the first show that Def Leppard did with Rick Allen and the new setup and all that was in Staten Island. So I mean, but what a great interview he was. So a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. So again, JJ French was a great interview. I don't think you did that one with me. That was after we did the benefit for AJ Pero. He came. I don't know if it was right before or right after. It was either the week before, the week after. And I remember, and I have it saved. I clipped it off the interview. And he goes, I didn't want to do this interview, but I had such a good time. I love doing this interview. Thank you. Because we talked Ranger hockey. We talked Mets baseball. We talked music. We got into you think about it, there's some of the most iconic drum beats, right? Like when you hear Rock and Roll by Zeppelin, before you hear anything, you hear that, what song it is, right?
Yeah.
Right. And there's a few songs like that. And one of them is We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister. That opening drum is huge,
Sure.
Thank you, my friend Leonard. We appreciate it. We thank you, and we appreciate everybody coming back every week. And like I said, it's just a small community, and people are always welcome to come up in here and hang with us and talk sports and talk music and just talk politics, whatever we're talking about for the day. So, we'll wind it down now. There's no reason to get to more stuff, but Jeff, anything new going on with you? Anything coming up?
No. Well, Sunday we're playing a benefit.
Oh yeah,
25 missions. Yeah, at Creshire Mansion.
Creshire, where's that?
It's not going to be fucking 3 million fucking degrees.
Yeah, it's supposed to be hot this week. Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is supposed to be brutal. I don't know about Sunday.
Yeah,
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are brutal.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
Brutal away.
I know our 27th show, our 27th get together. I'm a little disappointed. I got to be honest
Thank
with
you, Leonard Anthony, for that comment. That's very nice of you, man.
Appreciate it, my friend. Yes, we do. Thank you, Frankie. Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming back most weeks with us. It means a lot. We have a lot. We have a good time together.
So what's going on with the 27th or the 20th?
The 27th. It's not the 20th. It's the 27th. And yeah, I mean, basically everybody's bailed except for you, Paul and Bob, and you and me. I still haven't heard back from Ronnie Morms. I'm going to try him again. But if he bails, that's it. It's over. That'll be the end of it. That's it. Point. It's close to being over. But I guess we'll just have to wait till Christmas. But I will tell you, if it doesn't happen, I will set up one like we did the last time with Jimmy and Ronnie and me and you and John, and we'll do something, in September or something, just to get together. But I'm hoping Ronnie says yes.
It would have been nice if we could have done that. But you know what? The one at Christmas time and the one that we did between Christmas and now was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It would be nice that if we could do this, every other month, whatever. But
I don't know.
I don't know what to tell you, man. It ain't your fault. That's for damn sure.
No, like I said, all you can do is try. So I'll reach out to Ronnie one more time if he says yes or no, and then again, if you guys don't mind it just being the four of us or five of us, even if we don't have a singer, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, listen, John is going away. I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yep. It is what it is.
I could get us a drummer more than likely. You just give me the word. I could get us a drummer.
You know what? The idea for me, these things, like if you say, hey, Tom, let's get together once a month, we'll bring different people, and I'm all in. This was supposed to be about all of us getting together. Everybody wanted to do more. Let's get together more often. It's you two and Leonard. Take care, my friend. That's why, to me, this one was about, all the guys getting together. The Christmas one is so much fun because it's all of us in the room and all of that. To get, to bring other people and just to me, it takes it away. But let's see what happens with Ronnie. And then I got a feeling with Jimmy not being there, we might lose other people. So we'll see. But
yeah, it sucks.
Yep, but we'll have some fun. I've been practicing. God, I feel like every day. When I was away, I was playing all day and night. I learned a bunch of new tunes, so I'm looking forward to jamming and having a good time. So worst case, I keep jamming. Like I said, worst case, if this falls through, I'll get Jimmy, Ronnie, me, and you, and then hopefully maybe John, and we'll do another one of those like we did the last time, and we'll go jam. And that was fun to me. That was a great day. I had a blast doing that one.
Yeah, yeah. Every time we go, I have fun.
Yeah, me too. But
I like the Christmas one, of course, the best.
Yeah, because it's insanity. It's it's
the way we did it this year. We went and got something to eat first.
Yeah,
so it was cool. It was like something different.
Yes,
and then we went, we played, and of course, all the shenanigans start. And next thing you know, there's like 2 cases of beer there, and everybody just drank a 6-pack, but the bottle of hooch is gone.
It's a lot of fun, and and you know what? There's some good music played, and we played some of the same songs 2 and 3 times, but it's definitely worthwhile. So again, I'll try. We'll try for the 27th. I might even actually try again if that fails. So like in October, everybody's back in town, nobody's away. I bet you we can get it in. But yeah, I will absolutely make sure we do another round, and in December I'll start that one very early, so that way we make sure we get everybody there. So, but we'll see what happens. Again, it's still a couple weeks away from the 27th, and still got a lot of summer left. So let's enjoy all of that. And remember, we'll be back here next Thursday night to do this all over again. And we're getting close to football season, so we're about to kick off the show like we always do. We revolve around the Jets and the Giants, and so much going on with both teams. Jeff, I know you don't watch a lot of TV. Have you watched any of the Hard Knocks with the Giants?
No,
okay.
No, I have not.
Yeah,
I've never watched Hard Knocks at all.
I'm not a fan of the show, to be honest with you. I watched one of the early seasons. I caught an episode or 2 here and there. I didn't like. I did not think I would like the Giant one. The first episode was a lot of fun to watch because you did get to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff. They were talking about, the Saquon Barkley thing and all. I thought it was actually pretty well done. I started to watch the episode the other night, but it went on at 10:30 on a replay, and I fell asleep just as it came on. So I will try to catch every episode, but it's actually pretty good if you get HBO on your TV. I don't know if you do or don't.
I got to check it out.
Yeah, it's a good behind the scenes. It's all the preseason stuff leading up to the draft and the free agency. It's actually pretty cool. They've done a good job. So I would suggest it. But I'm not a Hard Knocks fan either. I don't watch the regular ones. I don't watch the in-season one. They do one that's in season. The Dolphins they did last year. I didn't watch it either. I don't really care to that. It's too staged. But the first episode came off like, basically they were talking, didn't realize the camera was in the room. So that's why I liked it so much. But we'll see what episode 2 and going forward is. But in the meantime, Jeff, it's 9:00. We're both tired. You got to enjoy your vacation. And we're going to end the show right here. It's been a lot of blast. Listen, we talk some sports and music and some politics. And as always, Jeff, it's a blast. But Jeff, again, I did talk to you yesterday, but I love you, my brother, and I wish you a happy birthday. And hopefully we'll spend a lot more birthdays talking through the years.
Yeah, his hoping, man.
100%. But guys, in the meantime, we're going to end the show right here. Thank you all, Frankie and Leonard and Frank Jeffrey and Paul D'Agostino and everybody else. All the people hitting me up off the air. Thank you guys all for listening and paying attention to our little show. And we hope you keep coming back every week. So right now, I say thank you guys. Please enjoy your night. Please enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. Please enjoy the next week. And we'll see you right back here on the Hard Rocket Sports Show. So for Jeff Tomwinski, myself, and everybody here at the Hard Rocket Sports Show, please have a good night and a safe week. Jeff, I'll talk to you off the air, pal.
Be good, man.
All right, my man.
Later.